Story time about how I got caught skipping school almost every day of my senior year. So our school had just started this new thing where you fill out all your contact information online. And my dad was like, okay, yeah, just fill yours out. And it pretty much was who can pick you up, who can make early dismissals for you, who they can call if you're in trouble. Well, I decided to be a sneaky little bastard and put my boyfriend in for every single one of those contacts. I would start school around 7:30 a.m. and I would go to the nurse's office at like 9 a.m. and she would call and my boyfriend would act like my dad and be like, okay, yeah, just let her drive home. Well, my guidance counselor noticed after about 3 months of me never being at school. So she called the number hoping to speak to my dad. But instead she got my boyfriend. And he just thought it was a random person, so he didn't act like my dad. Because neither of us knew. Like for part 2. Okay, part 2. Okay, so pretty much what happened after that is she called and like she found out that it wasn't my dad. And then she went digging and like she like called my sister to the office and she was like, what's your dad's phone number? And my sister was like, why? Like, don't you guys have it already? And I also put the same numbers for my sisters so that way in case this day came, then, you know, it wouldn't look suspicious. Well, I don't know what she threatened my sister with, but she scared the hell out of her, so she gave her my dad's number. And so my sister told me whenever she got home, so I went to school the next day. And it was like a surprise party whenever I walked in the office. The dean was there, the principal was there, and my guidance counselor. So I got in trouble and then they were like, oh, we're calling your dad. So what did I do? I left before they called him. Toxic best friend story time. And no, this is not the same one. I know I have bad choice in best friends. Do not come at me. So a few summers ago, I was single and I was talking to 2 boys. One that I had been talking to for months, but I didn't know if he liked me because I kind of got more of best friend vibes. And the other one I was talking to for not that long, but he was kind of a douche. So who did I tell about these 2 boys? No other than my best friend. Well, this girl took it upon herself to text the guy that I was talking to for months and say, you're just her backup plan. And she was the type of girl that would talk shit on other girls to guys that they liked to get the guy's attention. So he told me that she said that, and I confronted her about it. She goes, I just don't think it was right you were doing that to him. Meanwhile, she was talking to this boy that she really liked, but fucking other people. We were not able to bounce back after that. Story time about how I actually got away with sneaking out. It was the summer before my junior year in high school. So my sister and my friend were sleeping at my house. And I didn't live with my parents at this time. Well, 2 a.m. rolls around and we get a text from our friend. And he goes, oh, do you want to come to my party right now? And we really wanted to go, so we had to come up with this elaborate plan on how we were going to get out of my house and get back in. Because we had to worry about a dog who freaks out every time someone leaves and comes back, motion-censored lights, adults waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I was on the first floor of the house, thank God. So I had my sister put the dog in the bedroom so that way he wouldn't bark whenever we left. And my sister really took one for the team here. And then I told her whenever they wake up, let the dog back out of the room and lock the door, just in case they came to check in on us. So we called an Uber and bolted out of my house. Like for part 2. Okay guys, sneaking out part 2. And for all of you saying like, oh, why'd you have to sneak out if you weren't like, you know, living at your parents'? I lived at my grandparents' house and they are strict as hell. Anyways, so you know, we're at the party and we're having a great time and I look at my phone and I realize that it's 4 o'clock and they wake up at 4:30 a.m. So we ordered an Uber and we had the guy drop us off down the street. So we're walking down the street and we finally get to my neighbor's house and we can see all the lights were on in my house. And my sister's been texting me the whole time basically saying, oh, they're awake, I hear them, OMG, like you better hurry up. And I'm texting her like, get the dog in the room, because he would have barked loud as hell if he saw us. and I forget if it was me or her, but one of us had to pee really bad and peed somewhere. So we're basically on our stomachs crawling back to my house through my yard, so that way none of the motion sensor lights come on. And one of them came on, and the windows don't really have curtains, so I could see my pap like looking outside the window. Oh, there's gonna be a part 3. Okay, part 3, but for all the new people, guys, stop telling me to post the part 2 because I always post my part 2s. Okay, so the motion sensor light comes on, and we literally stop dead in our tracks. Meanwhile, we're literally laying in the grass, like just don't even know what to do. And there's this side door that we were gonna go through. So my sister put the dog in the room, and we're just waiting for the techs to run in the house when they're both upstairs. But my pap was looking outside trying to figure out why the light went on. And then I hear him say, oh, it must have just been a deer. So my sister finally texts us like 5 minutes later that, you know, they're both upstairs. And I waited so I couldn't see them in the window anymore. And we bolted in the house. And I ran in the bedroom, and we both smelled disgusting because we were both laying on the grass outside. When we get in, we lock the door so that way we can change our clothes, act like we're going to sleep, and then unlock the door. And my grandma comes down literally 10 minutes later to check on us. Like if you want more stories on me sneaking out. Story time about how my best friend and I used to get away with hanging out with boys. So my friend and I's parents were really strict, which meant no hanging out with boys, not even if a parent was there. And we would always come up with these elaborate lies to do stuff that we weren't allowed to do. And we were in high school, so we really wanted to go hang out with one of our guy friends. So we came up with this plan where we would tell them that we were going to a football game because it was a Friday, and that an Uber was coming to pick us up. And there really was no Uber, it was actually just our guy friend coming to pick us up. But since my dad didn't let me go in Ubers, we had to go to my best friend's house. And her parents were fine with it because they loved me and thought that I was the most perfect child on earth. So we get in our Uber and we just go to his house and hang out the whole time. I literally don't even know how we got away with this because it was the same exact car every time and the same exact Uber driver every time. Extremely toxic best friend story time. So when I was in 8th grade, there was this boy. And this boy would go around telling almost every girl that he liked her. And I was one of those girls. And he would do stuff with all of us. And there were like 11 of us. So we all hated each other. Especially this one girl, and we're gonna call her Abby. And every time we saw each other, we would be super mean to each other. Well, a year passed, we stopped talking to this kid. And I bumped into her at homecoming and basically apologized. So after that, we became best friends. And everything was good until every time I told her about a guy, she would start talking to them. Like this one boy that I was Snapchatting and talking to, she accidentally sent nudes to him and said, oh, sorry, I meant to send them to my boyfriend. So then she called one of my other best friends and said, no, it actually wasn't an accident. And of course he told me because he was my best friend. So I was like, whatever, and stopped talking to the boy. And she did it again, like for part 2.